First Minister, which of the following decisions do you think that Natural Resources Wales can be proudest of? Is it the dumping of 300,000 tonnes of nuclear mud approximately 1 mile from Cardiff Bay? Or is it giving a licence for a biomass incinerator which neighbours residential properties in Barry Dock? Or finally, is it refusing to sell timber from public woodland at market value, potentially fleecing the Welsh taxpayer of £1 million?
Well, the first two issues are operational matters in terms of permitting. The third issue is a matter which has been well explored and is not acceptable. Clearly, a lack of competence was exhibited by NRW to have oral contracts, whilst they may be technically legally valid, is not wise, because it's much better to have things written down. That's been explored, and rightly so, by the Public Accounts Committee. But may I remind him that his party are not exactly the best party to lecture on the environment. This is a party who, as far as I can see, have no interest in the environment at all, and who wanted to take us out of the European Union, which was singularly responsible for raising Britain's standards, which were so appalling when it came to the environment, particularly in the 70s and 80s. There was one river, I believe the River Irwell in Salford, that at one time would catch fire if you threw a lit match into it. It was the European Union that dragged Britain out of the gutter when it came to its environmental standards. Now, let's see what UKIP propose in order to preserve and enhance our environment for the future in the absence of that European framework.
Yes, you're talking about the European Union. I was asking you about your oversight of Natural Resources Wales, but thanks for leading us down a blind alley, First Minister.
Well, you did that.
No, you mentioned the oversight of NRW by the Public Accounts Committee, and I'm glad you see a valuable role for the Public Accounts Committee in doing that. Now, your own backbenchers, of course, have an important role to play, a crucial role to play in scrutinising organisations like Natural Resources Wales. However, we have one backbench member who has played an exceedingly valuable role on the Public Accounts Committee in giving oversight to Natural Resources Wales. I note that that member is being rewarded for his sterling work by being removed from the Public Accounts Committee. Doesn't this just prove, First Minister, that you do not want proper scrutiny of organisations run by your government?
No. Well, I find it difficult to accept what the leader of UKIP says when he talks of the important work of the Public Affairs Committee, which I think is correct, and he talks of the need for scrutiny, yet at the same time wants to abolish the Assembly, thereby providing us with no scrutiny at all over NRW or over anything else. He calls for a second referendum on devolution and opposes one when it comes to Brexit. So when it comes to scrutiny, his answer to greater scrutiny is to remove the very scrutineers themselves, making it far more difficult for proper scrutiny to occur. And it is because of that scrutiny that the problems in NRW have helped to be identified. In years gone by, that level of scrutiny would never have been there in the days before devolution. That scrutiny, rightly so, has been exercised by the Public Accounts Committee, and it is a matter now for NRW, working with ourselves as a government, to rectify the situation.
Now, to go back to what your member said, your member of the Public Accounts Committee, at the height of the timber fiasco, I quote, "What is going on in NRW to have their accounts qualified for the third year running? It's unprecedented and frankly outrageous. I'm struggling to think of an explanation as to why this might be. Might it be corruption or incompetence? But it does appear that the forestry section of NRW is out of control. I think there needs to be accountability from the senior leadership of this organisation, which does appear to be out of control." End quote. Now, you're talking about me wanting to remove scrutiny. I'm talking about wanting to remove this entire useless institution, the Welsh Assembly, of which you've been at the heart of for 18 years. The problem is not the scrutiny by backbenchers, because when they do scrutinise, you rubbish it anyway and you remove them from the committees. The point is that the government the government you've been part of for 18 years isn't fit to run these institutions, and that's why the Welsh public gets an awful deal from the Welsh Assembly. Is that not the case, First Minister?
There we go. So let me see them. There have been 2 referendums, one in 1997 and 2011. He doesn't accept the result. Yet he demands that there should be no referendum at all on the deal with Brexit. I mean, his hypocrisy is almost breathtaking. On the one hand, he says we need more scrutiny, and then he says we need to remove all scrutiny, without realising the contradiction of what he is saying. The member for Llanelli, I'm sure, is delighted by the support that's been given to him by the leader of UKIP. But he is somebody who holds government to account for the government backbenchers, and exactly how he should do, as should be done. You know, Lee is somebody, the member for Llanelli is somebody who expresses his view, and he's right to do so. That's what government backbenchers are there to do, to make sure that as a Welsh Labour government we get things right. Now, I'm not sure what he's saying, get rid of the Assembly or get rid of NRW, I don't know. What I do know is that if ever UKIP got the power, and there were 7 of them to begin with, there are 4 of them now, who knows, there may be far fewer of them in the future. And part of the reason for this is because UKIP can't win anything. Let's try and attack the body that we can't actually win an election to. But if ever UKIP ever got the power, we know there'd be no environmental regulatory body. It would be a free-for-all when it came to the environment. Our environment would be destroyed, our beaches would be ruined, all in the name of the mad free market philosophy that his party wants to expound. And that is the reality of UKIP. We will fight to make sure that the people of Wales, yes, have the government they deserve, the scrutiny they deserve, and to keep the body that they voted for, not just once, but voted for twice in terms of extra powers.
We'll return to questions on the order paper. Question 3, Susie Davis.
Diolch yn fawr, Dirprwy Lywydd. Well, the first